Because today, they held their primary elections as scheduled, which, as you can imagine, is a big problem. Because not only were Wisconsinites forced to choose between their health and civic duty, but thanks to so many poll workers dropping out, the number of voting sites was slashed across the state. Yeah, especially in urban areas. For example, the number of polling locations in Milwaukee went from the usual 180 all the way down to just 5. 5 polling sites for a city of 600,000 people. And I'm sorry guys, those numbers just don't make sense. 600,000 people divided by 5? That's like we all know what that number is. The point is it's unfair to the voters. And when Wisconsin opened its polling locations this morning, you could immediately tell that having the election today was a really bad idea.
We turn now to Wisconsin, where despite the state's stay-at-home order, the primary is underway today. And after a day of chaos and confusion surrounding the vote, folks are now casting their ballots in person, despite fears of spreading coronavirus. And already, there have been long lines at polling places, raising concerns about social distancing.
There were people lined up around the side of the high school, around the corner, through the parking lot, and then into the road and sidewalk that extends beyond that school as well.
Okay, seriously? This is just ridiculous. People standing around the block, huge numbers, waiting to vote. During coronavirus, this is ridiculous. There are only 2 reasons people should be waiting in line for hours around a block. Either Baby Yoda is doing a meet and greet, or you're buying a pair of sneakers that are too nice to ever wear. And so you just put them in the back of your closet and you brag about having them, but nobody ever knows if it's true or not. That's what I do with my Jordan 5s. Clearly, this is not the ideal way to run an election, especially during a pandemic. So the obvious question is, why didn't Wisconsin delay their primary like all the other states did? Well, you see, it turns out Wisconsin's Democratic governor, Tony Evers, tried to delay the primary, and he tried to make it easier for people to vote by mail. But he was blocked by the Republican legislature. Now that doesn't make sense, right? Voting by mail might sound like a weird idea, but every state already allows it in some form. And not only that, 5 states conduct their elections entirely by mail. So many experts right now are arguing that the most responsible thing to do during coronavirus is just have everybody mail in their votes. Oh, and for my younger viewers, mail is when you have like a message and you send it to someone on a piece of paper. It's like a TikTok, but in an envelope. Yeah. Oh, and an envelope is like an app, but you open it physically, like with your hands. So the big question is, why are many Republicans in Wisconsin and around the country resisting efforts to make it easier to vote? Well, I mean, they're still giving their usual talking points about trying to prevent voter fraud. But recently, prominent Republican leaders have been slipping up and telling the truth.
Donald Trump has said that if we voted by mail, Republicans would never win again.
The things they had in there were crazy. They had things, levels of voting that if you ever agreed to it, you'd never have a Republican elected in this country again.
The Speaker of the House in the state of Georgia has said the same thing, that they don't want more voter participation.
This will be extremely devastating to Republicans and conservatives in Georgia. Every registered voter is going to get one of these. So, this will certainly drive up turnout.
Okay, this is insane, man. These Republicans are afraid that if more people get access to voting, they're going to lose elections. And so instead of just coming up with policies that are more popular, they'd rather just make it harder to vote. Basically, these Republicans believe in the free market for everything except themselves. I mean, think about it. If someone was getting bad scores at the Olympics, what would they do? They'd probably try and work harder and improve their routine. Yeah? But if Republicans were in that situation, they would just be like, why are you wasting your time? Just steal the judges' scorecards. Problem solved. I mean, for years, people have suspected it, but now Republicans are just saying it out loud. We don't want more people to vote because then we think we're going to lose. Yeah. I don't know why they're saying it out loud. I mean, maybe it's coronavirus. Maybe it's being quarantined indoors. You lock people up inside for long enough and the truth comes out. Oh, I'll tell you what I really think of your cooking, Melinda. So, the battle around voting is shaping up to be one that will not only affect the primaries in the months to come, but also potentially the general election in November. Because coronavirus might go away in the summer, but just like pumpkin spice, it could make a comeback in the fall. And if some Republicans have their way with how all Americans can or cannot vote, then best believe those panda bears in Hong Kong won't be the only ones getting screwed.